Kill it.
Earth power.
Oh.
Dandy's World is a Roblox game made by Blush Crunch Studios. I enjoy it so much, if you can't tell from the everything about me. Also, hi, I'm Rince. Basically, if you aren't aware, Dandy's World is a mascot horror-inspired game, featuring, well, dandies, some other tunes, and this educational museum type of place that also has their own show, with posters I desperately want to redraw one day. Their currency is ichor, this like black ink stuff. But it's also the downfall of many tunes that attack you, called Twisteds, as you play, for the characters you can unlock. Ichor as a currency and a way to corrupt the community. Capitalism metaphor? Anyway, let's get to the human designs. The first one I immediately wanted to do was Toodles. I love her. She's such a sweet thing. She's my main. I adore her. And if anything bad happens to her, I will start crying. Toodles is an 8-ball who's the only known canonical child. She's the youngest, the most innocent, definitely the most curious from what I've seen. And she's the closest with Roger, and is also a scaredy cat when it comes to the dark. I also love her feral little twisted form. Get him, baby! She's my favorite if you can't tell, so I had to start with her. Anyway, let me explain my design choices, which is really hard because I kind of just turned my brain off and went with my instincts on most things. Started with a comfy little kid silhouette, went from there. She was a huge comfort zone design for me, and I, of course, gave her that darling little sleeveless hoodie dress, but also to give her a turtleneck sweater under that, give her actual sleeves, make it a little more like her original design, I suppose. You can see I've thought about putting the 8 on that big head of hers on her hoodie, but allocated it to the beanie because I am just a girl. No, I'm not. And forgot that beanies can also have designs on them. Gave her big round eyes, rounded her little eyelashes, which I now realize is the second thing I took as inspo from her junior detective skin. Because they're usually on the tops of her eyes, but the junior detective skin has like one on top, one on the bottom. And I also took inspiration from it for her sleeve shape. You know what? I'm not sorry. I religiously use that skin. And I am very happy with this. Now, next up is one of the starters, Boxten. A nervous, reserved little music box tune, and as the word starter suggests, one of the tunes you can start out with when you start the game. The one I picked at the start, spoiler alert. I remember deciding that I should do the starters since I already pushed them aside for my baby girl baby, and one of my friends told me to do Boxten, so I obliged. His design gave me zero ideas. The most I knew was that he'd be getting his bandana. Thank the gods the update with Gigi gave us skins, because if it wasn't for his cloudy skin, I would have been so lost and bashing my head into the wall because his original design, he wears nothing besides striped pants. Stripes. I hate stripes so much, especially when I have nothing else to go off of. But either way, I tried my best. And my best I tried because I love how this little loser came out. Made his metal bits on his box, into the buckles on his overalls, as well as some rectangular glasses. If I wanted to go for the nerd twink vibe, I was going to lean into it. The aforementioned cloudy skin lent me the idea to give him a dress shirt, which I waffled on the colors for before settling for this purple plaid type patterning. Turned his bandana into an ascot, I think that's what it's called. The bow thing that Fred from Scooby-Doo has. And I kind of gave him like blonde hair to contrast with his brown skin because it's my favorite trope. Like dark skin with light hair. It just looks good, okay? And also it would be a fun way to incorporate the framing on his box. Here's the little nerd, ready to put his extracting trinket to good use. I sound insane right now, but that's okay. So up next is our other starter tune, Poppy. A quite literally bubbly tune, because she's a bubble, who I admit isn't my favorite, but that's just because I like Boxten a little better. But after this design, I warmed up to her a great amount. Which is hilarious because she gave me such a hard time for no reason. The silhouette and clothes? Fine. Shockingly easy even. Made her plump and chubby to go with her bubbly personality, which works well because she's already a bubble. And the sudden decision to give her monoliths because I have free will. Her eyes are definitely not natural. She wears, like, blue contacts. The colors, though, besides just translating her colors for her clothes pretty damn easily, it gave me so much trouble. Specifically, the hair. For the life of me, I could not figure out how I wanted to make her hair look good. I didn't just want to make her hair blue and call it a day. That felt like cheating. She came off as a cheery blonde girl, so I wanted to do that, but I couldn't find a good blonde hair color that wouldn't blend in with the skin. I tried making her hair sky blue instead of the literal cyanesy if that worked. That looked ugly. I tried adding blue streaks, which looked uglier. After a lot of trouble, I decided the split dye would be a good option. Her natural hair color with the blue from her design would do just fine, except I ended up making her an unnatural blonde anyway because I was too attached to that idea. Honestly, it looked better than the black hair I would have given her. I almost went with like a yellow and black kind of split dye, but it was giving Melanie Martinez, and although I love her, I did not want to give that vibe. And yeah, I kept her eyebrows black. I don't think she'd try to bleach her eyebrows. I'm a little bit bummed because I forgot I was going to give her lipstick, but whatever. I really like how her eyes came out though, the lashes being those like raindrop type eyelashes instead of the rounded out ones I gave Toodles to differentiate them. Made me feel so smart. Here's Poppy. She's not my favorite design in the world. That's mostly because I don't like using these colors. Yeah, I feel like I translated her well. Shrimpo was stupid easy. I already knew I was going to take a lot of inspiration from his punk alternative spiky skin, and the rest just kind of manifested from there. I did this surprisingly quick because it was just that easy and I wanted it done, but I really like how it turned out. You can see I wanted to add like the Toons trinkets to their design somewhere, which I later kind of forgot about. I mean, Boxten and Poppy were freebies in that regard. That was pretty cool. I initially had a lot of trouble with how I wanted to interpret this buck-ass brick. The only idea I had was a keychain, but then something else hit me. And it wasn't a brick. Guys, this is Shrimpo's friend Brick. They hate each other, but takes him everywhere with him. He wants you to know how much he hates Brick, but Brick always ends up sleeping with Shrimpo every night, like Toodles with her dog plush. Brick is love. Brick is life. We love Brick. So does Shrimpo, but he will not admit that. He hates Brick. He hates everything. Ripped up his jeans, gave him basic boots, a belt, also ripped up his hoodie, and that's human Shrimpo. Besides, what was the most obvious make tail into ponytail method, and also some gauge earrings to really bring that punk vibe about him. I also don't have enough characters with gauge earrings. Like, the only one I have is Dave, and nobody likes him. Short, angry guy who hates everyone and everything. I hope this makes the Shrimpo fans giddy with joy. I know I made quite a few very happy. This is just 2012 Raph, isn't it? The next one I did was Roger, who I admit gave me some trouble. I knew right off the bat I wanted to give him an older Silver Fox kind of vibe. And he was gonna have a blind eye, since Roger has one eye. I also wanted to give him a monocle, since I remember like one line of dialogue where he briefly mentioned wanting a monocle. It tracks. I'll make your dreams come true, Mr. Magnifier Man. I'm not a huge fan of how he turned out. It's likely just because older men, or any older age person for that matter, is something I haven't had a lot of practice with. He looks fine, I guess. I remember somebody was like, oh, it's a little weird that he has a beard but no mustache. I promise that was intentional. It's because of his magnifying glass frame. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not sure if you would immediately recognize it as Roger though. It has his colors in his suitcase, and he never really carries it around in game, but whatever. Funny thing, because his speed is absolute ass, and as well as his stamina, I gave him a speedometer, kind of like a pocket watch, because I like to give him that when I play as him, you know, for that extra bit of stamina he desperately needs. A magnifying glass trinket, just a little keychain on his suitcase. I imagine that Toodles gave it to him, maybe. Overall, we just have an older, tired gentleman who you'd be surprised to know is one of the more optimistic Toons. I've given him enough dad vibes for Toodles, I think, to be paired with him. Razzle and Dazzle was a fun design to figure out, one of my other favorite Toons. Mostly because if you couldn't tell, they are two characters in one Toon. Two heads, with an alternating passive ability as a bonus. The first thing that came to mind was conjoined twins. I did a little bit of Googling to figure out how I wanted to do this because, admittedly, I was a bit hesitant, didn't want to fuck anything up, making sure it felt right to have them conjoined. I'm pretty sure it could be like life-threatening and stuff, even though I'm also aware there are conjoined twins who are thriving nicely. They're married? Only one is married? I'm not gonna think about that too much. Upon my research, I know they're not gonna be conjoined to the head. Nothing against that, just kept getting the heebie-jeebies every time I saw that. I could have gone the route to have them, like, get an operation, have them safely separated, but that felt a little lazy on my part. Just me. Plus, it sort of defeats the purpose of the gimmick with their design, being that they are, well, together at all times. You know? 2 characters, 1 tune. I decided for them to be conjoined at, like, the waist-rib area. Not only for them to be able to comfortably move their heads like the tune counterparts can, but also just to give them the same vibe. I don't know why I overthought it that much. Kept their clothes pretty simple for their design, and their seafoam skin doesn't have much going on, which saves me a bit of brain power. And, for their face markings, I knew I would have to do vitiligo. Yes, you are allowed to debate how to pronounce that in the comments. So many people have been like, oh, it's vitiligo, oh, it's vitiligo. Actually, it might be like vitiligo. I don't know, man. I don't know. This also gave me the excuse to contrast the two more with their hair colors, and for them to both have heterochromia because melanin is crazy. Overall, I had lots of fun with the skin splotches, lots of fun making their hair look like the mask silhouettes and contrasting the way their hair lies for the both of them. And the design is here. I love them so much. They're so silly. The next one is Brightney. You know, one of the other common tunes. And by common, I mean, like, she's as common as see, like, in-game as, you know, Boxten and Poppy. I mean, she's not too common, but whatever. She's also a pretty easy tune to unlock and a common twisted to encounter. There we go. Just like Toodles, she was a comfort zone design for me. I basically just mashed her and her antique skin together, if I'm being honest. The arm and leg warmers just added to the comfy vibe she already gives off. I was gonna give her light bulb earrings as a nod to her not only being a lamp, but her spare bulb trinket, but forgot and covered her ears with hair. Oops. Tried making up for it by making the patterning have a slight light bulb motif. Don't know if it reads well, but it works. Just know she has tiny little light bulb earrings under her hair. And I gave her a skirt because lamp, and also a sun hat, boxy, because lamp. Yeah. And for the scarf and limb warmers, it just came from her antique design, I guess. A lot of elements I did, like her little glasses and the patterning in general, kind of came from that design. For that, I don't really have much to say about her. Like, yeah, I had to screw with her colors a bit, but I did that for all my designs, so nothing new. I like how she turned out, though. Her colors are pretty. Yay! And I also really hope you enjoyed watching me design these guys. Yeah, leave your thoughts on them in the comments. Maybe consider liking the video, whatever, what have you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your time zone. I'll see you on the other side. If I die to Tisha one more time, I'm going to kill my ancestors.